A client tells you the project worked. Your inbox stays quiet. Then a prospect asks why your rate is higher, and you realize your best result is trapped inside someone else's account. That is the proof problem. You may be excellent at what you do, but if a buyer cannot quickly see the value you have already created, they compare you on availability, personality, or price. Today, we're going to change that. Welcome to Nomad High Income Skills, episode 73. I'm Aria. You'll learn exactly how to turn one legitimate client result into proof that attracts better clients and supports sustainable high income. The system is called the Proof to Premium Engine. It has 4 moves: choose, document, approve, and deploy. One result becomes a case study, a proposal paragraph, a portfolio card, and a focused outreach message. Not 4 marketing projects. One piece of evidence translated for 4 buying moments. That distinction matters when you're working from a different city, juggling travel logistics, or protecting your energy between client calls. Your marketing should compound. It should not become a second job. And to be clear, proof is not a shortcut to guaranteed revenue. It is a way to make credible value easier for the right buyer to recognize. Start with the result that carries the strongest business signal, not the compliment that made you feel best. The signal that helps a buyer understand what changed. Did qualified leads increase? Did a team save hours? Did a sales page convert more of the traffic it already had? Did a process reduce errors or support requests? Did your work lower a meaningful business risk? Those are stronger starting points than "they loved my communication." That praise matters, but it is not the whole story. Ask yourself, what became measurably better because of my work? Here's a quick exercise. Think of your last 5 meaningful projects. For each one, write 3 phrases: the starting condition, what you changed, and what became different afterward. Maybe a reporting system removed 10 hours of manual work each week. Maybe a landing page produced more qualified sales conversations. Maybe a positioning rewrite helped a founder enter larger client discussions with more confidence. You do not need a dramatic number. You need an accurate signal. If the exact metric is confidential, use a directional description or an approved range. Credibility beats drama. A serious buyer does not need a miracle story. They need evidence that you understand problems connected to their business. Once you've chosen the signal, document the story in a way a busy buyer can follow. What was happening before you arrived? What was at stake? What did you actually change? What happened afterward? And what conditions shaped the result? Those questions give you the spine of the asset. Keep the language plain. The team was losing qualified visitors between the landing page and the sales call. We clarified the offer, shortened the qualification path, and tested the revised page for 8 weeks. That is much easier to trust than a sentence about transforming a company overnight. Context does not weaken your result. Context tells the truth about where your result came from. You may be thinking, I don't have permission to publish my best result. Good. That does not mean you have no proof. It means you need an approval path and a privacy-safe version. Before anything leaves your laptop, ask the client what can be shared. If the company name is off-limits, describe the business accurately but generally, a mid-market software company or a regional professional services firm. Remove screenshots, internal documents, customer lists, and identifying details. If a number is sensitive, ask whether you can use a range, a percentage change, or a directional statement. Never turn confidentiality into a marketing opportunity. Let's make the evidence concrete with a fictional example. Imagine Maya, a conversion copywriter traveling between short-term stays in the United States. One approved client result involves an email launch sequence. In this example, the revised sequence moved the purchase rate from 2.1% to 3% during a 6-week test. Maya documents the audience, the offer, the test period, and her contribution. She reorganized the message around customer objections, clarified the offer, and improved the path from email to checkout. Then she adds the honest limitation. That result belongs to this audience, this offer, and this test period. She does not promise the same number to the next client. That is enough for a useful one-page proof asset. One page, that's the constraint. What goes on it? The problem, the work, the evidence, and the next problem you can solve. What stays out? A 12-page autobiography, every tool you touched, and claims you cannot defend. Put the business context near the top. Show the intervention in plain language. State the result with its time period. Add one sentence explaining the limitations. Then connect the evidence to a specific offer. Not, I write emails. Try, I help established companies improve the path from qualified attention to purchase through message and sequence optimization. Now, the same asset can travel. Pull 3 sentences into a proposal. Turn the central result into a portfolio card. Use the original client problem in a personalized outreach note. If the topic comes up on a discovery call, tell the story aloud in under a minute. Same evidence, different setting. You are not feeding an algorithm every morning. You are placing relevant proof where a buyer is already deciding whether to trust you. The best proof is not the proof you admire in a folder. It is the proof that reaches a relevant buyer. This is where Maya changes her offer. She stops leading with, I can write your next email sequence. Instead, she proposes a message and conversion optimization package, a customer journey review, analysis of the current sequence, revised emails, implementation guidance, and a follow-up test plan. Her case study does not magically justify any price. It gives her a stronger basis for discussing scope, risk, and the work required. On the discovery call, she asks a few uncomfortable but useful questions. Is there enough qualified traffic? Is the offer clear? Can the team access the relevant data? Is the timeline realistic? If the conditions are missing, she does not force the sale. Proof improves fit, not just fees. Imagine that case study arriving in a proposal on a Tuesday morning. The prospect sees a familiar problem, a measured contribution, and a clear next step. Maya is no longer asking the buyer to trust a list of services. She is showing how she thinks. She can also send the proof to a small group of similar businesses with a short note. I noticed this part of your customer journey may be creating friction. I worked on a related problem and saw this result under these conditions. Here is one observation you can use. That is targeted outreach. No mass blasting, no daily performance, just a relevant reason to start a conversation. To keep the system from turning into another workload, give it boundaries. Use an approval checklist before publication. Ask for approval while the draft is still simple, not after you have spent a weekend designing a campaign. Create one 90-minute reuse block each month. During that block, update the portfolio page, proposal snippets, and outreach library. Keep your distribution list small. Past clients, referral partners, warm prospects, and carefully selected companies. You do not need to broadcast every win everywhere. Let the proof work quietly in the places where it can influence a real decision. There is one more boundary, and it protects your health. A successful result proves capability in a particular context. It does not prove that every future client will get the same outcome. Do not promise what you cannot control. During discovery, confirm the audience, resources, access, decision-making process, and timeline. That is not timid selling. That is professional selling. When you stop carrying responsibility for every variable in a client's business, you can price your thinking and your process more confidently. Charge what you're worth without pretending you control the entire market. Build income that supports your lifestyle, not destroys your health. So here is the engine in plain language. Choose one measurable signal tied to business value. Document the before, the change, the after, and the conditions. Approve the privacy-safe version with the client. Then deploy that evidence in one case study, one proposal, one portfolio location, and one relevant outreach message. Choose, document, approve, deploy. That is the whole system. It does not require a perfect personal brand, daily posting, or a promise that one project can predict the future. It makes the value you already created easier for the right buyer to understand. Here is your same-day action. Set a 90-minute timer and choose the client when you can describe most accurately. Write 4 short sections: what was happening before, what you changed, what happened afterward, and what conditions shaped the result. Remove identifying details unless you have written approval. Add one honest limitation, then write one sentence naming the offer this proof supports. Stop there. Do not spend the afternoon polishing fonts or building an elaborate website. A useful draft today is more valuable than a beautiful idea that stays private. If approval is needed, send this simple draft to the client. Then schedule one proposal or outreach use for this week. If you want help moving from draft to deployment, explore the Nomad high-income skills courses. Use the case study and proposal templates to build the one-page asset today, then adapt it into your next relevant proposal. You'll also find approval checklists, premium offer frameworks, and guided implementation support. The templates provide structure. Your judgment provides credibility. Start with one result. Make it accurate. Put it in front of the right people. Let good work keep working. That's your high-income blueprint for today. Take one action this week and start seeing results. Your skills are your freedom currency.